Assalamu alaikum all. Today I am going to be talking about language learning when you don't feel like it. Now there are definitely many days when I don't feel like language learning. Life gets in the way, maybe getting a bit tricky, busy, and sometimes I'm just sort of stuck on something. I can't just get past the particular point. So in this video, I talk about how I deal with this, and this is something that I feel is really important for me when it comes to language and to help me kind of continue the language learning journey. So hello friends, welcome to my channel. On this channel, I share my journey learning languages as a Muslim by sharing the best tips that I have found. Now, first of all, I want to say is when things do get difficult or you don't feel like doing it, definitely keep the expectation low. Just do a couple of minutes. That's my thing. Just try and keep it going every day. And, that I think that's really important. It just keeps the kind of momentum going. You kind of feel good about it. The next thing I would say is, this is kind of spoken about in the book Atomic Habits, which I'll make sure to have a link to below. And it's, definitely about keeping the process going. And it's important to especially do this when you don't feel like it as well, because it just kind of proves to you that, actually I can do language learning. It is something that I can, do, and kind of helps prove to yourself actually that you can learn languages. It gives you confidence, and it will keep you continuing, especially if you hit a hump and you just kind of make your way through it. Another thing that definitely happened to me, and this happens, probably still happens now as well, is especially if I leave a long gap, then I could forget things, and then it makes it a bit more trickier to pick things up. Where was I? What do I remember? What was the things going on? So it definitely takes longer to get back into things. So what I'd say is, even if I do a few minutes regularly, it still kind of helps me remember what I was last working on and makes it a bit easier to pick things up rather than not doing anything at all. And also another thing is that, not feel bad if I do miss days, just get back into it. Sometimes, I beat myself up about it. I waste so much energy just, Iqbal, why aren't you doing it? What's going on with you? You should be, learning languages. You've hit the same mistake before where you dropped it for a few days. And I find if I beat myself up, I just waste energy. So I'm better off just kind of getting stuck back into it. So, and this kind of led me into kind of thinking more deeper as well. Why do I not feel like learning a language sometimes? And it's definitely something I think about a lot. And I saw a podcast recently and with Stephen Bartlett, which is Diary of a CEO. And he had this person on called Robert Greene who wrote this book. I think his most famous book was The 48 Laws of Power, which I haven't read myself, but I've heard a lot of stuff about it. So maybe something I will get back into. Quite interesting book actually. And one book he also wrote afterwards, which was called Mastery, so how you master things. And this kind of really connected with me, was he said, to get to mastery, it takes time, and sometimes you don't feel like it. I think he was talking about a piano, or if you're playing a sport or something, you have to do a lot of things just to kind of, maybe, I don't know, if you're playing football, you've got to do a lot of drills, a lot of practice, a lot of stuff like that. And, you need to kind of work through that. But eventually, once you do get through that and you have built up some, good experience, some good skills, then it feels great. You've actually picked this skill up. So maybe I need to kind of get through that process a bit. And then that will kind of then feel a lot better later on. So, and then another thing I would say was that, my brain needs to kind of get used to things as well. So part of this mastery sort of process is that, if you're learning a new language, it's all kind of new for my brain. And, there's different grammar, different pronunciations. I just need to chuck it at my brain and let my brain get used to it. And as my brain gets used to it, then I'm hoping that, things will get more and more easier. Things like vocabulary as well, as I build up more words and things like that. So, the brain definitely needs to get used to it and kind of, figure it out. And, hopefully that will kind of help things make better as well. Another thing is to stop waiting for it to feel good. Sometimes, I'll do it later. I'll feel a bit better later on in the day if I do my language learning, or, let me just put it off for a couple of hours. And something I read recently from a book called 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Berkman is to not wait for it to feel good, because it's never going to feel good. It's just never going to be the right time to do something. Maybe I should put it that way. And a new language can feel weird, and you're not sure the best time to do it and things like that. So just need to kind of just do it. And there's never a best time. It's just maybe set a time and just do it and get it done. It's probably the best thing to do. And I would say as well, it's just in terms of when it doesn't feel good, I do actually have many days when I don't feel like, learning languages. And it's very important that, I just keep trying to do a little bit each day. So, and I'm hoping, you know, I get better and better as I get more comfortable with the language, and hopefully I get more fluent as well. So this definitely goes into that point I was talking about before, which is just getting mastery with a language. It takes a bit of time, and, you know, things will hopefully kind of get easier as I keep working on this. The other thing is that, you know, I need to do language learning, but whenever I do it, it does feel good afterwards. So, you know, even if I spend a little bit and afterwards I really get a good, you know, feel that, hey, I've done a bit of language learning, even if it's for 2 minutes. Never underestimate that. So how much that works. And just if I continue up this chain and a good progress, then, you know, that feels really good, especially if I've done it for quite a few days. That kind of builds up my confidence and I feel really good about it. And, you know, in the long term as well, it would just feel good because, you know, say if I've done that for months and months and months, then, you know, I feel great and it will give me kind of good confidence about that. So currently that hasn't been the case. Yeah, I have missed out quite a few days. And but yeah, definitely this is why I wanted to make this video. Another thing is that if I'm working on something difficult, then I'll change it and, you know, do something a bit easy. So, you know, my brain's not used to that language and, you know, I could struggle. And, you know, if I am working on a particular grammar rule, then I'll probably just kind of go through it a bit quickly and then just carry on going. Don't get stuck on that one thing, or switch it to something a bit easier. But sometimes I find switching it to something easy is finding that easy thing takes a bit of time. So yeah, I'll just kind of maybe skip through it a bit quicker, or I'll do something else, maybe watch some more YouTube videos and just keep exposing myself to French or Arabic or whatever it may be. So yeah, definitely don't feel like, you know, you have to stick to something difficult. Another thing is this kind of warrior mentality. So, you know, don't feel like you have to be a warrior all the time and play through things, and that's like a judgment of your character. I used to think, oh gosh, no, I have to force through this, I have to work through this, you know. But, you know, definitely feel free to free it up, do something different. You know, it takes the brain time to get used to stuff, and it's not a case of just playing through and just trying to get through it. And, you know, I used to feel really bad about that, but now I'm a lot better, a lot more easier on myself, and, you know, don't think I have to be a warrior all the time. But the most important thing to remember, and this is definitely something I keep reminding myself, is that I always have to find ways to stick to a language and not give up. You know, I've tried to learn languages before, especially Arabic, for a long time, and I've kind of given up just because, you know, I was struggling, or it's difficult, or especially I would say probably just feeling bad about things, and just more how much I've been putting sort of expectations on myself that were probably too high, and I need to kind of reduce them down. Because, you know, how can I expect to learn a language if I've, you know, haven't done it successfully before? So I have to keep the expectation very low, and then bit by bit it will, you know, kind of build up my confidence as I keep kind of working through it. So yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. And yeah, really appreciate you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, I really appreciate it if you smash that like button, as it really helps promote this video. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.